In 1967, the prospects for aspiring Hungarian-born composer, performer Janos Bajtala were looking favourable to become a significant artist on the pop scene in Hungary.
Kedves Bajtala elvtárs! Értesítjük, hogy a Santon Bizottság legutóbbi ülésén úgy határozott, hogy nem engedélyezi a...
In 1967, the prospects for aspiring Hungarian-born composer, performer Janos Bajtala were looking favourable to become a significant artist on the pop scene in Hungary.
Kedves Bajtala elvtárs! Értesítjük, hogy a Santon Bizottság legutóbbi ülésén úgy határozott, hogy nem engedélyezi a Cigánylány című szerzeményének kiadását. Tisztelettel a Santon. Dear Comrade Bajtala, having looked at the music and lyrics of your song entitled Gypsy Girl, the committee have decided not to allow you to record or perform this material due to insufficient quality, the Chanson Committee. When subsequently I went to the Hungarian record company with it, with you know, asking them to actually release the tune, which was up till now just played on the radio and it was only on tape. And I, you know, refused point blank.
These things, I would say about 65 onwards, started to be grudgingly tolerated. I think that would be the best expression.
Following the unsuccessful uprising in 1956, political demonstrations in the country were something of a rarity. In Hungary, as in many other Eastern Bloc countries, people tried to carry on their life with some semblance of normality. Like many other things in the West, pop music, although not banned, was frowned upon, and occasionally even censored by the communist authorities, still under the premiership of Janos Bajtala. And although the repressive atmosphere was beginning to loosen, it was not as easy to rock and roll in the Eastern Bloc as in the rest of Europe. Historian Andras Brezhny.
Pop music as such was considered to be some kind of bourgeois deviation of, I don't know from what, but from some sort of ideal they were having in mind. And as a result it was unwelcome, but that was before the late 60s, and for then gradually they softened their attitude towards it. And they tolerated it, but old suspicion and reluctance actually remained.
After frequent disappointments and several bureaucratic obstacles, courtesy of the Socialist Party machine in Hungary, Janos finally got a significant break.
We went out as a three-piece, and we were actually gigging and playing, you know, songs of mine and other songs. You know, so somebody must have heard us in one of our concerts, you know, and they then invited us for a recording session. So several songs of mine and other covers were recorded at the time for the purposes of the radio, for a broadcast, you know. And one of the songs was Gypsy Girl.
Janos Bajtala and the Gypsy Girl tells the tale of one casualty of professional jealousy and intrigue that was endemic within the political system in Hungary.
Yes, it was present in the music industry as well, because people who were, to use a Hungarian expression, lying well, that means not telling the truth well, but it means that resting well with certain people, and again you don't need to think anything sexual. Anyhow, it was an expression. So those who were sort of favored, they got more chances than others. But that was admittedly not the only thing, because talent mattered as well. It went hand in hand.
Once I went to the record company and spoke to the manager himself. The first time it was already being played on the radio, and people wrote in wanting to hear of it more and more times. But Still, the record company manager, he said, no, we're not going to record it, point blank, refused it. And then a few months later I went back. This time it was already on the chart in national papers, you know. And this time he said, well, it's too late now, isn't it? You know, too late now.
A world of idiosyncratic dogma where even the most innocuous of titles could be the basis of a homegrown hit being suppressed.
The title, which was, you know, Gypsy Girl, was sensitive. Because of, I mean, partly because the minority of, you know, the minority people, you know, the Gypsies in Hungary, there was a problem there. And they didn't want any kind of shadow of a problem caused by a song. I don't see the you know, the relevance, but there you go.
One can call it a predecessor of political correctness, what was going on. In fact, that was the political correctness. The authorities were definitely pro-Gypsy. There was a positive discrimination for them, but the word itself may have had bad connotations simply because the population at large did not necessarily like Gypsies, and well, there was plenty of, shall we call it, racism, a way of looking down on their lifestyle and so on. And yes, it may have been an oversensitivity. It's the same thing as with Jews. The word Jewish wasn't officially banned, but was quite unwelcome, probably at an earlier period of the regime. It was better to say Israelite.
Janos' story provides us with an alternative view of what it was like to live in a one-party state. It reminds us of how 30 years of Cold War policy left its mark on individuals who had little interest in the dogma of either the USSR or the United States.
To find out more about the eventual fate of Janos, his defection 4 years later, and how the live recorded version of Gypsy Girl was eventually released 14 years later, tune into Janos and the Gypsy Girl.